Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the November 5th business meeting of the Webster Board of Education. Would everyone please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. Now, as we just mentioned, we wanted to alter the agenda just slightly to include a brief update from Carm, and we can tuck that in under regular business. Can I have a motion, please, to do so?
So moved.
Thanks,
Second.
Sue. Second by Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks. Then we'll get going. Carm is going to join us as soon as he is finished with his current phone call. So we are excited to welcome two students to our meeting tonight via Zoom. They're here. We have Brooke Chase and Michael Riddell. Thank you so very much to both of you for joining us. And please go ahead and deliver the report you'd like to share.
So Michael and I are going to take a couple moments just to introduce ourselves. So my name is Brooke Chase. I'm student council president. I'm on the math league team, and I love dogs. My dog's name is Minnie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michael Riddell. I'm also on the student council with Brooke. I'm the vice president. And for my class of 2022, I'm the treasurer. I'm also on Math League. Like Brooke said, I have been on it now for 2 years, and I am also a part of the orchestra in Schrader. So I'm super happy to be here, and I'm super excited to be giving this report. So first off, we had a guest speaker the other day for our AP psychology class, Elisa Bake, who has a PhD, and she's a researcher at UCLA. And she's a neuroscientist who's recently written a paper on brain activity in people who share articles on social media. And what UCLA is hoping they can do with this information is predict when information is going to go viral and use the research to determine that. Also, last Wednesday, our 15-1 program had a virtual field trip to the International Space Station, and they studied how slime and other objects react in space. Then they made some slime themselves, and they had a great time. Reportedly, they loved doing everything that was involved in the field trip. And finally, for me at least, Mr. Eckler, one of our social studies teachers here at Schrader, had his AP government class conduct a school-wide mock election. And they had a virtual debate on Wednesday, and they expressed the candidates' positions and had people who wanted to vote join a Google Classroom, fill out a form, and we should be hearing the results of that shortly. And they were really happy with the debate because of how informative it was compared to other mock debates. And I'm going to pass it over to Brooke, who also has some news.
Thanks, Michael. So on November 18th, all of our Earth Science students here at Schrader will be working with students from MCC and the California University of Pennsylvania for a humanitarian mapping project. They will be using satellite imagery to create maps of impoverished communities from other countries that are not being mapped right now. These countries are at high risk for future natural disasters or economic need, and the purpose of creating these maps are to help if and when these disasters strikes by assisting the relief workers on where to go and bring aid. A little bit of an athletic update. All of our teams will be finishing their regular season in the next week, with all teams heading into sectionals. We're wishing everyone good luck. We have our capital project fields. Our turf is complete and is amazing. This will offer us an opportunity to have 2 teams playing on
I can't hear anything. Can anyone else?
No.
I think we lost her sound.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I never use Zoom. What was the last thing you heard? I'm sorry.
Two teams on the new turf.
Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, so the next thing was that our track is going to be finished later in the spring, and we're hopeful to run on it before the end of the school year. And our athletes and their parents have been really great about following protocols with COVID, and we're getting excited for our winter sports. Our warrior hearts are heavy right now with the recent car accident over the weekend, and our thoughts and prayers are with all the families involved. We are definitely a one warrior family.
Thank you so much for that update, both Brooke and Michael. Does anybody have any questions for our liaisons?
No?
Mike?
Mike and Brooke, what are you finding to be the most challenging this year with your part-time schedule? So half remote, half in person.
Michael, do you want to go or I
Yeah,
can go?
I can go first.
Okay.
So for me this year, what's been the most difficult has been focusing on those off days. So like Mondays and Thursdays, obviously teachers assign work and I need to do that. But me being at home without type of school structure for me has been a little difficult staying on track. So that's why I prefer Wednesdays and my days when I'm actually physically at school over my off days because I have trouble focusing on those off days. So that's been the biggest challenge for me.
I think my biggest challenge is definitely that I, as a junior, I know some of my other friends who are juniors are experiencing this too. Junior year is heavy to start with. And then when you add in all the COVID stuff, I know I have a lot of extracurriculars and just balancing having a job and my APs and my extracurriculars. It's definitely challenging. And I do miss the in-person time I have with my teachers. So I'm happy that I get to have it at all though. So I am happy I get to go to school.
Thank you, you two. Great answers.
Thank you both very much. We appreciate you sharing your evening with us. Look forward to many more, maybe even live and in person at an upcoming meeting. So thanks again. Please take care.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thanks.
Bye,
Same to
have a
you.
good night.
Bye. Okay, and moving on to our WTA liaison. Joan, the last time we saw you was the Oak Tree Award evening.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Great to see you guys there. And that's when I'm so glad to be back reporting this. That was, thank you for having me. I appreciated that. It was very kind and very sweet. And my family got to see you too, as you got to see them. And I appreciate that, really do. It made a difference, those things that people do. And to that, I get to report out again on the WTA. I promise you guys, I could talk all day and then I can move on to the next school. And you know that from when I left you guys in March to now, the things that have gone on in WTA, you guys are our board. You must just be mesmerized by the things that teachers have reached out to do in partnership with so many different people around the community. And you guys, we have to. There's no getting through this. There's no getting through a day without reaching out and working with each other. Dan Crowley continues to share our WTA cares, and we've reached out to, we continued with the breast cancer, raising money, even though we couldn't walk as a team, that we were raising money. We're continuing in November to work with Emmanuel Lutheran and doing the backpack program. and bringing over boxes upon boxes of milk and cereal and fruit that they need. We look forward to also working with different bargaining units and filling Thanksgiving baskets with turkeys and stuffing and pies or the ingredients to make these things and dropping it off at our students' houses, like what has been going on. I know people from March who have picked up from Schrader and dropped off to people who couldn't get there. People who collected and went out shopping and dropped off boxes to some of our students and families from March. Really, it's actually continuing to go. It went right through the summer. And that being able to stop at Schrader and order some pieces. Thank you for that and providing the community with that experience. Our elementary teachers, wow, I don't know if I could let my kids go half day and bring in more, but I don't know if I could let them go half day. I love seeing them again. Mask, and of course they have to have masks. Just love seeing people in the hall that are under 18, and watching their eyes smile and learning to read their faces even more so than we do as adults and WTA members. Our elementary teachers they're rocking it. They've got to let the kids go half day and more other little cherubs in, focusing in on reading, working with PTSA, encouraging that reading, that reinforcement, that motivation, the prizes, the raffles, the families. It's just outstanding, the pieces that people are doing. Middle school, we have people like Christine Canny and Bar Rich and the way they've set up their classroom and the Bitmojis and trying to have fun with the kids with, getting back into reading is, where the skills are. As much as we've been reaching out and in contact, March was a lot different than it is now, but we are, we're still trying to teach new, even with trying to help people have confidence, and our students have confidence, even though they weren't in school every day, and they're still not in school every day, to build that confidence, to be learners and continue to be learners, even during a pandemic, to give them that sense of security, to give them that sense of safety. Our high school, one of the fun things this time of year is that pumpkin catapult, and to keep those things in, even though all the spirit weeks and the sports and everything looks different on that end, there are some things that we get to do that are part of the norm. The college essays, the hundreds upon hundreds of college essays that are being written, and many of them on the weekends right now, because it is different working in a mask. It's different when you have the kids there for that 2.5 days. I'm fortunate to have them more for the program, the OWL program that opened in the high school. However, you want to absorb every moment those kids are in school, those 2 days, and then those Monday, Thursdays, and Tuesday, Fridays. You have other colleagues who have constantly picking up different things because we're under different guidelines, and somebody might be out for a few days till the test results come back, or other things that occur, and people are continuing to just reach out and be there for our students, help them where they're at, help them grow, help them continue to learn. People like Kelly Winslow is doing amazing. She has a piece at the AP Spanish level, and she has reached out to countries, Nicaragua and the Dominican Republic, and they're really having this very cool hour or so each week learning about the different cultures and them here and the different customs and the different things people do. So that's a neat thing that was being able to do. Our 1511 teams are still continuing to plan fun, even though it looks different, because a lot of the things we had, and Linda, I was thinking about all the sources of strength pieces when we went to, and what fun we had as adults and what fun the kids had. So many of those activities the kids can't do right now. It was just way too close, much closer than 6 feet. Our remote teachers, when this comes, and Tammy, I loved when you said, hopefully Brooke and Michael will all be back in person before this school year lets out, and we need to get those remote teachers ticket take parade, the things that are coming out, you know, the glitches that happen and on the moment and trying to call and reach for your phone and get past certain internet things that are out of our control, but people still reaching out and connecting with kids and being with kids and helping them learn and grow. Again, when I saw the October agenda and I saw liaison there, I got so excited. And Cindy said, Joni, yeah, remember that's the school liaison. You guys as the board, you have your schools you reach out to. I just see a snapshot. Kids I'm teaching, you guys on the board, you get like a photo album, and you must be just the things that the WTA teachers, psychologists, OTs, PTs, teachers on special assignment, it amazes me. And I'm not quite sure I'll ever retire because I get to be part of it. And it's a very cool experience. And I'm really glad to be able to be back on the agenda. And I look forward to reporting back to you guys in December as well. So, and our hearts go out to all of Webster, WTA, and I know all of us, all the accident, and that takes us back. So we hope for that healing and hurt and grief that people, again, in Webster are around each other to help that and foster that. So thank you guys. I'm glad to be back.
Thank you, Joan. And you're right. A special thanks to the TIG teams that have been in place and helping both students and staff to deal with this terrible tragedy, tragic loss. But I also wanted to say before, in your glowing report before, the last time we saw you, you made me teary, and you did again, because we know that so many people are going above and beyond every single day. And it is deeply appreciated by all of us. So if anybody else would like to jump in with questions or comments for Joan. Thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to next month. Take care. Do we have audio?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I just missed that last greeting. Okay, all. Moving on to visitors speaking time. We will hope to have that mechanism in place for the December 5th meeting. And what we plan to do is anyone wishing to address the board can request a Zoom link following the same protocols as before, with the same guidelines in terms of duration of speaking time through Cindy Cushman, and they will receive a link to be able to join us until we are able to be live again. So information about that will be posted on the website so that it will be available to all in the public. And we had hoped Carm would be joining us, and we'll allow him to jump in. I'm sorry, he's texting right now. Okay. We will allow him to jump in whenever he's off the call with Dr. Mendoza. So moving on to board business. The first item is the Board of Education goals. And we've been currently working with a team of communication members at the district office who are helping us determine what our content might look like in showing the community more of what we do. So we want it to be very engaging, visually appealing, and easy to use. So that is nearing its final stages and will also be live well in advance of our next meeting. So thanks to all for jumping in the suggestions and emails and drafts that are shared back and forth that make sure that we're all in agreement and wanting to share our work as best we can, share that with the public. And moving on to the resolution for new record retention schedule. Dave will talk us through that item.
Yeah, thanks, Tammy.
Thanks, Dave.
Sure. So the New York State Archives Department is revising its basically its protocols for how we and when we destroy or keep certain documents that are important to the school district as well as the county and whatnot, and local government. So they made a significant change to a number of different things. And so one of the requirements that we have is we are moving from ED1, which was the old education schedule, to a new local government records. And there are a number of different changes and requirements that we'll have to do to kind of do a crosswalk between what's changed and what stays the same. Many things are things like timelines for, it might move from a 5-year to a 6-year duration. Some things might move to permanent. They've made a significant shift to having more things digitally or not requiring a particular format. As you move into the digital world, less paper is necessary. And so things like that. And so basically tonight, what we're looking for, and the purpose of that, by the way, was really more consistency between the retention periods. They were looking at some new functions that were not in existence in the old document, and then certainly with alignment with new laws and other states. So that was the driver behind why they moved in this direction. So the purpose tonight is really just to, we have to, by law, enact a board resolution by January 1st, I believe, to accept these changes.
Thanks, Dave. Does anybody have any questions about these proposed changes? It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Okay, can we have a motion then, please, to accept this resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Thanks, Lynn. Second? I see Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Motion carries. Okay, I see Carm has joined us. Hey, Carm. So we had talked about permitting a brief report to summarize your phone call and kind of bring everybody up to date with the latest news on COVID and what you might want to share with parents and community members. Carmen?
I think there he is.
Yeah, I am so sorry, guys. I'm having so many technical issues tonight, and I'm not sure if you can see me or hear me. Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we
you guys
can
hear me?
now. Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, I was our COVID cases, as you guys know, are going up across the region. You know, right now, Webster, the 14580 zip code, is experiencing one of the most rapid increases in our region between us and another zip code. So we are just, you know, and we knew this was coming. And, you know, the good news is there really hasn't been any community spread within our schools because we are distancing and hand washing and using masks. So that's awesome. And you know, we know that the next 8 weeks are going to be the hardest 8 weeks to get from here December 23rd. So you do the math or December 22nd, I can't remember, but
I'm not hearing.
we do the math.
You're echoing and
Really bad audio.
You know, is approximately 6.5 or 7 weeks away. And
Paul, is there anything that you can see or do on your end?
I'm texting him now. I think it's his internet.
Can you
okay.
call in?
I think we lost him.
I think we did too. Okay, let's continue. He'll come back. Let's move on to our final board business item. And Sue, that would be you, the New York State School Board Association annual
okay.
meeting debrief. Let's jump in with that in the interim.
Sure. So the annual meeting was Saturday morning. It was a Zoom meeting, first time ever. It's always a first. Meeting was called to order. Everything went pretty well. We elected our officers. Fred Langstaff is our president. Peggy Zugaby is our first vice president. Sandra Rufo is our second vice president, and our own Tom Nespeka will stay on as treasurer. We had discussions about our resolutions at our previous board meeting. So there were 27 resolutions, 19 were recommended, 8 were not. The 19 were adopted, 4 of them were amended. The ones that I think you might specifically be interested in are the first one, which is a resolution on overhauling the current testing system. People are pretty encouraged about that. Resolution mandating local IDEA agencies to include affected school districts when developing and or renewing pilots, which are payments in lieu of taxes. That's something that's very important to our membership. This one, resolution to expand opportunities and capacity for online learning. This is one that I think, Janice, you were a little bit concerned about. That was actually amended to say that they wanted to expand opportunities and capacity for online learning, provided they increase student opportunities and do not decrease current levels of instruction.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that. Thank you.
Yeah. And then the resolution opposing mid-year state aid cuts and also advocating for additional state aid from federal or additional aid from state and federal governments to reimburse districts for COVID-related expenses, among other things. But those were the 4 that I think were probably the most relevant to what we were looking for. And actually, the meeting did not go to the end. It ended up, we lost our quorum at noon. People kind of gave up after 3.5 hours. And so we weren't able to discuss the last 2 resolutions, but they were not recommended. And the other ones that were not recommended didn't pass either. So that was our day.
Thank you for participating and representing us in those conversations.
Sure.
Appreciate it. Does anybody have any comments or questions for Sue? Okay, so that was for information only. Moving on to board reports.
Carm is on his way back in.
Okay.
You know what, Tammy, go ahead and do your board reports.
Okay, so you'll have an opportunity to share with Sunday thoughts or Friday thoughts and
Yep.
be able to update. Okay,
I will.
all right. Thank you, Carmen. All right, moving on to school liaison reports. Who would like to begin?
I can.
Okay, hey, Mike.
Well, here's a shout out to all the Clem North parents for their efforts on the drop off and the pickup. I think I can say that it's going well at this point. And the Pick My Kids Up app has been very helpful. The generous Clem North parents have given our the Clem North Valet team, which is the administration and bus loaders, donuts and ciders and hand warmers for the work they are doing in the loop. And I have to say, students and teachers are happy and they're learning together. The building is such a wonderful collaborative place to be. To help celebrate Red Ribbon Week, the students participated in a red day, a crazy sock day, a pajama day, a wear sports apparel day, and a blue and green, which is a school colors day. And the 5th grade band at Clem North they were back together for a special lunchtime rehearsal. So both hybrid and remote students got a chance to see each other for the first time since March. And a thank you goes out to all the Clem North PTSA people who are supplying a pumpkin to every Clem North student. The families will be decorating their pumpkins to show ways they are thankful. And the next meeting will be determined.
Thank you, Mike. Maria, want to jump in for duet?
You're muted, Maria.
Can't hear you.
Our next meeting is actually scheduled for this coming Monday, but I wanted to share one thing that Rob DeRose had posted on Facebook about the 5th grade safety patrol. They've been a fine example of care and leadership this fall. And in addition to the staff, they promote care, kindness, and inclusion in every environment. And this year, the Safety Patrol is recommending care postcards for students that they see showing care day in and day out. Also, it's incredible how the bus drop-off and bus pickup is down to a science. It is just flawless at DeWitt. And actually at Plank South, I was a part of that last week when I took my granddaughter, and it was incredible. So I'll have more to report next time after we meet.
Excellent, thank you. Sue, do you want to jump in and talk about Schlegel?
Actually, all that I have is that there's a meeting on Tuesday, so I'll have more of an update at our next meeting.
Okay. Okay, great. Linda? Lake South?
Yep. Lake South, there was a meeting last night. They had about 16 members, which continues to blow me away. More members than I've ever been at PTSA meetings in a long time. They also last night, they've been doing every other week, it's called Sleepy Time Stories with staff members, where the staff member will read a bedtime story to the students, and those are really well attended. They are also on Friday having Fred the Magic Guy, who will be Zooming to over 65 families. He will be doing demonstrations and will teach the kids some of his magic tricks. They are continuing to look for ways to keep all the families engaged and make them feel a part of their school community. This week, art packets are going home to create, I believe it's a scarecrow, and to have the kids put in the scarecrow what they're thankful for. And the PTSA will be Zooming because the kids will be able to put it all together while they're on Zoom. And that's really about it. Their next meeting will not be until January.
Okay. Thank you, Linda. Mike?
Sure. Plank Road North, the next meeting is actually Monday, but in between meetings, in my last report, I actually had a phone call with a parent of a student at Plank Road North, and she had rave reviews for the school district, particularly with the focus on the teaching of racial justice and equity. Was blown away by fire. And I summarized the notes and sent it to everybody, but it's always good to have the discussions where you get a lot of positive feedback about everything we're doing to teach every student and whatever their needs are in the district. So, and starting in elementary school. So she was very, very happy with everything going on.
Excellent, thank you. And I know Janice and I share Clem South and State, but Janice, go ahead.
Okay. State Road, they are doing spirit wear and ordering masks with the school emblem on it. So they were pretty excited about that. Like Mike said, they were also focusing a lot on Red Ribbon Week and had some dress up themes and fun activities going on for that. They got their recorders that had been purchased by PTSA, and they were going to get started handing those out and getting the kids started on learning the recorders, which is always fun as a parent too, right? Giving tree, they're going to do their giving tree again this year, but probably focusing more on gift cards just with COVID and everything. That seems to be the theme. And then the 5th grade scavenger hunt is something that the kids had always looked forward to. So they were coming up with some ways to do that virtually and including both, the students who are attending hybrid and remote. That was State Road. So, and memberships is a big thing with both. I know they're really trying to work on increasing membership participation and getting the word out. I know they were at the farmers market on Saturdays. So both schools had really been trying to beef up membership sales and try to talk about some ways to get the word out. And then Clem South, they have a paint night coming up on December 4th, a virtual paint night. So they were looking for some participation and getting some supplies for that. And their virtual fun run, which is another big event that they like to do, planning that, and then trying to find ways to maybe build in some visuals inside the school building to continue that celebration inside the school, along with Leo's Pies and some other holiday events that they're just trying to include those hybrid and remote families and celebrate what we can during these crazy times. I think that was it.
Yeah, thank you. The other thing they were doing, which was interesting too, is sending home art supplies so that kids didn't have to rely on their backpack and everybody would still be able to participate. So PTSAs are being very creative and lots of ingenuity around how to keep kids and families engaged. So we appreciate all of those efforts. Does anybody have a secondary school report? I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah, Spry's PTSA meeting will be coming up in a couple, I think it's on the 17th, and Schrader they haven't announced their next one, but I didn't know if you wanted to talk about World Kindness Day, Tammy.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, a lot of the schools aren't having meetings every month, they're bi-monthly. So everybody's a little bit, determining their schedule as they go. But for Central PTSA, the same thing in terms of membership. Keep trying to expand those opportunities. They've been very fortunate with the farmers market to have good weather most Saturdays. And I think almost every school is selling pies, which means nobody has to bake for the holidays. I'm not sure. Leo's Pies is going to be busy. Also, Stacy Peters, big shout out to her because she shared this idea about World Kindness Day, which is November 13th and will be celebrated the 12th and 13th so that it hit both groups of kids are able to participate. But Mr. Rogers and his cardigan, everybody is encouraged to wear a cardigan and show acts of kindness. So the communications team also is going to be engaged in trying to capture those moments and share it out through social media. And it's been so well received everywhere. So all the schools have received notice and can participate as they choose, but it's certainly an easy and positive way to encourage the kindness that we want to see in our schools. So we will be participating and wearing our cardigans. Everybody, right? Yeah. Okay, so I think that covers our reports. Moving on to Monroe County Legislative Committee. Sue, are you up? Would you like to share anything else? Can't hear you.
There we go. Now can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So there was a meeting yesterday. There wasn't an update by Sherry. She'll do an update after all the election results are in, so we know who our representatives are going to be. But yesterday we had our meeting and it was with Regent Brown and Regent Norwood. The regents currently are revisiting graduation measures. They do understand the financial difficulties that districts are experiencing. Regent Norwood was his passion itself. If you've ever heard him speak, he is a very passionate person. And he is very stresses, serving the underprivileged. He did point out that this public health crisis and economic crisis, as well as racial injustices, are all related. And he also stressed that so many students are housing insecure, food insecure, and both of those things negatively impact or affect their education as well as their ability to socially connect. So those are his big concerns. They are talking about workforce availability and trying to figure out what to do with the lack of potential employees. And the one big question that we asked was, what do they mean about reimagining education? And they did not provide guidance on that. What they did do was suggest that districts should use this as an opportunity to look at what's been done to date during remote learning and explore possibly carrying some of those things, some of those initiatives post-COVID. And in addition, encourage thinking outside the box and taking advantage of any and all opportunities that present themselves. So it was really, they're looking for not to provide ideas and suggestions, but to encourage them to be nurtured on a local level and see what districts come up with. So it was a good meeting.
Thank you for attending on our behalf. Labor Relations, Linda? Want to share something?
Sorry. Yes. Labor Relations was a couple weeks ago, and the topic was all on unemployment and the ramifications that it is having on districts. So it was a great discussion. That's about it. Next one is in another week. We'll be back.
Okay, thank you. Information exchange, the last meeting was about reopening schools with mental health and compassion and equity in mind. The presenter was from Rush Henrietta. She did an excellent job. And Sue, it kind of reminds me what she made a couple points where they were meant to decrease stress levels, but also to expand creative thinking. So she said, we keep talking about going back to the new normal. And she said, maybe we should talk about a new routine, because we're not sure what normal looks like anymore. And for the things that we don't necessarily need to revert and go back to, it's an opportunity to think about them in a different way, which dovetails into what you were talking about. And I think that holds a lot of promise and a lot of creativity for educators to think about.
Hammy, since you mentioned Rush Henrietta, is the board interested at all in hearing what Shane has to say about his curriculum?
I think we are. Yes, Mike.
I can arrange something.
So maybe you can look at what the options are, and then we can decide better what works for us. Would it be, I don't know if you mean a Zoom meeting or?
Well, we can do Zoom.
Okay. Whatever he would like to do, I think we'd all love to hear more from him.
Okay. Do you want to hear about the curriculum that he's got, or do you want to hear what he was talking about at fire?
Redlining and housing policies?
Yes.
I think possibly both. Maybe that needs to be 2 meetings.
Well, yeah, we would need over an hour.
Yeah. I'm interested. Maybe reach out to him and see what he's willing to do for us. And then, we'll be grateful for that opportunity to work with him.
Okay, I will do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moving on, the executive committee, all the districts continue to meet and just generally discuss COVID challenges and ways to keep everyone engaged. And I guess there isn't anything new, but there's a lot of effort and recognition toward everything that districts are doing to just keep on track and keep kids in school and keep learning as high performing as it can be. And moving on to standing district committees, audit committee. I think we may be up to speed on that.
Yes.
Mike, yep, okay. Policy. I know we had to postpone a few things, Sue. We're deeply sorry.
Yes, well, at the next meeting, we will have 5 first reads for policies. So we'll plan to set aside a few minutes. So yeah, the committee's planning their work for the year. We have our meeting set. Our next one is December 3rd, and you'll see our policy recommendations at our next meeting.
Excellent, thank you.
Mhm.
And budget advisory will be up and running before we know it. Strategic planning, we have a meeting scheduled on Monday that I know we're all looking forward to.
Yep.
And when, Linda or Maria, would you like to update on when?
Sure. On October 24th, the WEN committee, as well as the Webster DEA drug take back day. And at that take back, they took over 390 pounds of prescription medications. So that's a huge amount of medications that got off the streets. There'll be another one scheduled sometime in April. The committee has also been at the farmers market this fall, trying to get the word out, get their name out there, handing out t-shirts and reusable shopping bags. And the committees are starting, the programming committee is starting to meet, trying to find ways in this new world that we're living in, how to engage with the community and continue to educate folks on the drug and alcohol issues that are in our community. So I think that's it. November 17th will be the next meeting.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. And then on behalf of Fire, I would just briefly share, October was Hispanic Heritage Month, and I know there were many activities scheduled throughout the schools and throughout the community that were shared on their webpage. And then also resources are still coming into some of the schools for Alma, the book Alma, and the story behind her name, which is meant to encourage discussions about our names and the heritage and meaning of names that children receive so that families can get engaged in those stories behind the significance of their family heritage and names. So I know that's very well received so far. Okay, and moving on to our consent agenda. Minutes, personnel action, and special education committee recommendations. Can we have a motion to accept the consent agenda, please? Maria, in a second. By Mike, all in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. And now we will adjourn and reconvene for our goal workshop. So can we have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
So moved.
It was Linda and a second by Sue. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Have a good evening, everyone. Continue to be safe, and we'll see you in the next Zoom link.